Hello, ladies.
Great. Hi there.
Are you able to hear me?
Jackie, what does that mean?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Hi, Asma.
Hi,
Dee.
how are you?
Great.
Good.
Hey there.
Hello.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Yep.
Okay, great. We're good?
Mm-hmm.
I always have tech support in the room because I mess
that's
up
really
real
smart,
fast. Really fast.
I've been just emailing the Go West people like, how do they get in the room? What's going on? Because I think that Renee was on and I think I had lost her somehow. Okay, I was in one of the other breakouts and it looked like they were having a lot of technical difficulties, and B, the person who was moderating was chatting with somebody while they were having technical difficulties, but everybody could see it. So let's just remember that as soon as our breakout session goes live, everyone can watch regardless of what's happening.
Okay.
So we'll just we'll jump in.
We have a Zoom room in here. It's so perfect. You know what I
That's
mean?
great.
It's like I leave my office. Nobody can walk in and interrupt me. Good stuff.
That's perfect. That's perfect. So I think we don't really have that much time. We'll do the sort of quick introduction so people, know something about you very briefly. They posted some of what you gave me. I think Asma, yours is there, and Dee, yours is there also. And then I'm not going to do a lot of, introduction of the conversation. I'm just going to mostly jump in fairly quickly so that we can really maximize your stories and your thoughts.
Sounds good.
Hello.
Hi, Lisa.
How are you all?
Great. How are you?
Doing great.
Your hair looks awesome.
It's taking up this whole screen. I'm trying to keep it down and probably didn't put enough conditioner.
I like it.
Yeah.
Well, so glad to see you guys. I thought I was having some technical difficulties, Judith. I just called you on your cell, so disregard.
Oh, sorry. I didn't realize that was you. And I turned my ringer off so that it wouldn't accidentally ring during the session.
No problem at all.
I'll know that's you now. Sorry
No
about that.
worries. I'm going to pull up your email so I can have. There we go. Is it just us, or are we waiting for more?
We're just waiting for Renee. She fell out of the breakout room. I just texted her.
Okay.
I think when I was trying to add her, I might have accidentally X'd her instead of plussed her.
Okay.
I didn't have any glasses on and I couldn't see what I was doing properly, apparently. Hi, Renee. Okay, can you go? You need the direct link? Yeah, exactly. Try that one. It worked for me. Okay, we can't see you. So can you just go out entirely and then come back in? I think what happened is you're not sharing your audio. Yes, they can all hear. It's okay. Okay.
Hi, ladies.
Hi.
Goodness.
Okay, we're all friends here. It's okay.
Oh, did you hear me say, oh, shit?
Well, what I told them is I was in another breakout earlier because I wanted to see how it looked. And some of the women in the panel were having technical difficulties. And I think that the moderator didn't understand that she was live. And so she was just broadcasting whatever.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Okay, the good news is we're in.
We're all in.
We've been here.
All in. We can see each other. I think we all have enough light on our faces. Nobody's in a shadow. So, and we can all hear, correct?
Yes.
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 Okay, so I have Rafi posted Asma your short just a little bio of you, and Dee, yours is posted also. I don't know. I know Renee, I sent him yours, but I don't see that he posted it. And DeLisa, I didn't get a bio from you, so it's not posted. So if you want to put something in the chat to, of a bio, like if you want to paste your bio in there so people can look at it, you can. Otherwise, we're just going to do that really fast intro.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
I read the email and thought that it was in us introducing ourselves, what to expect in that 1 minute.
Yeah, well, that, and then I was just putting a longer bio in case people wanted it, right, to
Gotcha.
know who people were. The other thing is, one of the big things that I noticed from Edie is that she's really looking for a call to action.
Okay.
And so at the end, I'm going to ask you for that call to action around encouraging more women entrepreneurs and thinking about how to use capital to scale. Okay, so you can kind of mix that with your pearls of wisdom, but make it more of a call to action. Because I spoke with her the other day, and then I noticed in a lot of the panels and other things are saying, "What's your call to action?" So I know that that's important to her since we're a movement. So I want to make sure that we're focused on that. And I'll watch the chat for questions. Not sure if people will engage or how many people will actually come into our breakout. I was going to do a poll, but then I decided that it wasn't really going to help us that much. I was going to do a poll asking who was in the room, like entrepreneurs, capital providers, whatever. But then I figured by the time we got the information, it was not going to really impact our conversation. So I decided to delete the poll.
Okay.
And hopefully they'll be able to see based on who comes in to the breakout. I did notice, though, that I could bounce in and out of breakouts. I tried that. So it's possible that people will do that also.
Okay.
And is that how many number of people are on with the?
I think that's just how many people are on total
Okay.
right now. Right. There were 3,600 registrations
Wow.
for this summit. So I don't think all 3,600 were on at any given time, but very nice. And the recording will be out, I think, tomorrow.
Great.
So if you haven't had a chance, some of these conversations have been really, really amazing.
Awesome.
So can all of you hear the noise above me or not, hopefully? No? Okay, good.
I don't hear anything.
I hear my dogs chasing a ball upstairs. So I just know if you could hear that too.
Well, you might hear my dog barking. So,
Well, that's why I sent everybody upstairs. I'm in the basement.
So funny.
This is the reality of working from home and presenting from home. So
That's right.
yeah, that's exactly right. So, Judith, how would I post my bio into the chat?
If you go to chat, you see on the right-hand side, it says chat polls people.
Yes.
If you go to chat, at the very bottom, it says start typing.
Uh-huh.
I think you can paste something in there.
Okay, I'll just try it.
I'll try to do mine as well. I actually don't see the chat on my screen.
Are you on full screen, or is your screen area partial and you have like a column on the right?
I have a column on the right.
Okay, so you don't see anything like right now. I see 4 chats all posted by Rafi. Do you see those?
Oh, I do see that. Okay.
Okay, so at the very bottom it says start typing.
Start typing. Perfect.
Wonder.
Oh, I don't know if it's gonna let me post this long. No.
But I'm just realizing, DeLisa.
Maybe that's Renee. Maybe that's why yours didn't get posted because I sent in that whole attachment. So maybe it was too long.
Maybe I'll just post a link to mine on my website.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, just.
There we go. Did it start at 4?
It actually starts at, I think it officially starts at 10 after.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And we're going to have a tech who's going to join us. Her name is Lori, in case we have any issues. Okay, so you probably saw that message from Deb Woolley from WBC. She can hear us talking, apparently.
Oh.
And she can see us too, because we all look centered.
Judith, I just messaged you. I don't know if you saw it.
You meant, okay, thank you.
I'm going to just run and get a water. I'll be right back.
Oh, okay. Thanks, DeLisa.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
We are ready to start. Do we have any questions before we get going? All right, I'm going to head out of here.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Call for Women Entrepreneurs and Access to Capital panel at the WBC Virtual Summit in 2021. We're so excited to have the opportunity to be here today to talk with all of you following such an inspirational day and a half of panels, of ideas, and fantastic conversation. So I'd like to have an opportunity to introduce the panel. I'm Judith Goldkrand, the National Women's Segment Leader at Wells Fargo for Commercial Banking. Welcome. I'm going to ask each of you to briefly introduce yourselves, and some of their bios are posted in the chat. So for those of you who'd like to have a longer bio, please feel free to scroll through the chat. Asma, do you want to start?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Asma Ishaq. I'm the CEO of a company called Modere. We're a omni-channel consumer products company that develops and manufactures and markets clean health and wellness, skincare and household products through e-commerce and direct-to-consumer channels. And so we have over 1 million active customers around the world. And I'm really happy to be here on this amazing women here on the side. Thank you.
And Asma, what's your superpower?
My superpower, I really think it's in developing people, developing and growing people.
Okay, Dee.
Awesome. Hi, I'm Deirdre Quinn. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Lafayette 148. We are a women's fashion apparel retail brand. We basically are a modern American luxury brand. We focus on women. We're women dressing women. We're like a 70% women-run company. We're vertical, which is what makes us unique. We manufacture our own clothes, so we're able to control the quality of the brand. We started the company 25 years ago, so I've been in business 25 years now. And what we've been doing during COVID, because you have to continually reinvent yourself if you're an entrepreneur, is we've opened 21 stores. 16 in the US, 5 in China, all very exciting. So, in our business, and I'm sure in any entrepreneurial business, you have to keep evolving. Nice to meet everyone.
And your superpower?
Honestly, my superpower is my passion. It's so much passion in what I do. It's kind of your hobby instead of your job.
Fantastic. All right, DeLisa.
Hi, everyone. I'm DeLisa Guerrier. I am the managing partner of Guerrier Development and the CEO and founder of Storyville Gardens. So Guerrier Development, we are a real estate and construction company located in Middle Tennessee. We started small and grew our company to what it is now. We have just under 1,500 units spanning from multifamily to cottages and commercial across Middle Tennessee. One of our exciting projects is Storyville Gardens, which is a $300 million amusement park that we are bringing back to this region, coupled with some retail dining and entertainment that we're excited about sharing. So,
What do you feel is your superpower, DeLisa?
I would say my superpower is intuition.
Great.
Falls under the realm of insight and vision, which I think is necessary in my field.
Definitely. Okay, Renee.
Hi, my name is Renee Pepys Lowe, and so happy to be here with all of you today. Lifelong entrepreneur, built and sold 2 businesses in the infant bedding and accessories market. My last company I started in 1998 in my garage and sold it 10 years later to Raspberry, and which then later transitioned to a public company traded on the New York Stock Exchange. I stayed on through the transition and left for a few years and then went back to manage not only my company, but then a larger portfolio within the parent company. I have then since been really advising and mentoring early stage entrepreneurs and mostly in the consumer space. And that has been really rewarding because I feel like I've been able to take everything that I've learned over the years and give it back to these women. And I have 2 daughters, married, 4 pets, and live in Newport Beach, California.
Fantastic. And what's your superpower, Renee?
Being purposeful.
Fantastic. Okay, let's jump right in. Today, I really want to focus on 2 topics. One is about entrepreneurship, and the other is about capital. So let's start with capital, because that seems to be the most talked about topic these days. and really talking about barriers to capital, access to capital. There are a lot of myths and misunderstandings amongst entrepreneurs, but especially amongst women entrepreneurs about capital. So maybe let's talk about, what do you wish you knew about capital earlier in your business, and how can capital be your friend in scaling? Asma, do you want to start?
Sure. I have kind of an interesting story because I founded a company, and actually I was even prior to there, I was in the manufacturing and supply side of my industry, which is in the health and wellness space, and was in not just contract manufacturing, but then also supply, ingredient supply, raw materials. And then I ended up starting a product company in 2008, and I grew that company. It was based on a proprietary science behind collagen, and that's been sort of my expertise for quite some time. And then led that to an acquisition by a private equity company, and it was a phenomenal strategic partnership that I wasn't necessarily looking for, but it was eye-opening to see the power of what confronted me at that time. And so at that time, February 2017, my company was acquired and my company merged with this company, and then, which was considerably larger than my company. It was about 10 times larger in both the number of employees and in annual revenue. But it made a lot of sense because we have a lot of complementary synergies and traits and characteristics about our businesses. And then I was appointed the CEO of a global combined company about 9 months after the acquisition. So I've been in this role as a CEO now. Obviously, we're owned by private equity, and that was my experience. And I have to say, it has been an incredible experience. I feel really well supported. When you talk about myths and misunderstandings, I think if I had to do it all over again, I would say that I probably would have learned and known my power even more than I knew it. And I feel like extremely driven. If I had a second superpower, it'd probably be my drive, because I have a lot of conviction in what I do. And so I feel like had I done it all over again, I probably had been often thinking about the risks I took, which were pretty great. And I'm just fortunate that we've made it work through many, many challenges, since then. But it's turned into a really amazing partnership. In fact, grown so fast and expanded. So the myth, I think, would be that it's not as scary as I think people think. To develop this kind of partnership, to whether it's taking on debt, whether it's partnering with capital, raising capital, and that you just need to make sure that you're understanding the benefits and how they can really outweigh the costs there. So anyways, I've had a really good experience with my with my endeavor here.
Fantastic. DeLisa, you are in the process of doing a large capital raise, debt and equity. Do you want to talk a little bit about your experience and where you're going?
Sure. And when you ask, do you mean just in the sense of that particular project, or just things that I've learned along the way?
Just in general.
Sure. I would say, to tie it back to your original question, one of the big myths has been, or misunderstanding has been, I think, around debt, and a lot of people just being scared of it. And I understand that because there is risk in taking on debt. I think that there is power, though, in having the right plan and having the right consultants to be able to help structure it so that you are bringing on smart debt. And so that has been a huge lesson for me. I also think that there's power in knowing what all the options are, which is also, I think, a big misunderstanding, because a lot of times people go back to what is just sort of at all of our fingertips in terms of bank financing of some sort when they're talking about growing a company. And so I think it has been helpful. Something I learned I would have to be to ask a lot of questions, aligning yourself with people who are in your industry that you can lean on for support. For me, I was able to structure a large real estate project with a significant amount of debt that makes sense. And a small portion of that is strategic equity partners. So,
Fantastic.
yeah.
Deirdre, you've taken a little bit of a different tactic in scaling your business. Do you want to talk about the myths and misunderstandings and what's worked for you?
Sure. So, my business partner was an entrepreneur, and he basically gave me a desk and a phone inside a factory and $1 million and said, let's start our own brand. 10 million later, we ran out of money. All right. And wow, it was quick how fast that happened. And it was actually an opening retail stores. I remember saying, I'm never going to open retail stores again. And here we are opening a lot of retail stores. Of course, much smarter about it. I didn't know what factoring was. We went the factoring route. We would borrow against receivables. I think the biggest lesson that I've learned and the most important one was the CFO. I mean, I went through 3 CFOs and 3 times a charm. And it is such a game changer in your ability to take risks because they as DeLisa said, they're smart debt. There's the ability to scale, which is really important. After 20, we're kind of slow. So like I'm conservative by nature, but 25 years later, it's kind of an exciting time for us. We're ready to grow it.
Fantastic. And Renee, you took a different tactic altogether. You sold your company completely, then got back involved. Talk to us about the myths and misunderstandings and how capital was your friend.
So I started my company with $50,000 of seed money. I was extremely naive, I have to tell you. I didn't know much about capital, even though I have a dad that was a CPA, had a successful business, as well as my mom. I just was very naive. And part of it is I think that was okay and good at the time. But I will say the biggest thing that I did is that I aligned myself with a female banker. She was the one that said yes. We were able to secure an asset-based loan, and it was a great experience. But my number one accountability was to her. I mean, every month, every quarter, doing updates, being transparent, not hiding anything, and really being proactive. So telling her the good and the bad of what was going on. And through that process, and as most of you know on this call, on this chat, is that next thing you know, like Deidre said, you ran out of your $10 million. Well, next thing you know, you're like, wait a minute, how do I pay for product when I'm not getting paid from Toys R Us? So you're going through that whole process. I was then approached to do a strategic sell. I sold the company outright, stayed on through my transition. Actually got fired, but that's another story for another day because there was the smarter man in the room. And so I left and I was then asked to come back and manage my company plus a larger competitors in our field, or sister companies. And I will say the challenge, first of all, about selling is that, and Asma, you probably know this, it's no longer your baby. So I had a wonderful group of colleagues that said we needed to do a funeral service for my company, Kokolo, because I was treating it as my baby still, but it really wasn't my baby. So it was a great opportunity. I'm glad I did it, and I've learned so much along the way.
So DeLisa, I have a follow-up question for you.
Uh-huh.
You've looked at both debt and equity. How do you think about the choice between raising debt or raising equity and the various risks?
I think just like Deidre said, it took the right consultants to help advise me and to really look at all scenarios on paper. I heard someone tell me a long time ago, companies, anything that you want to pursue, it's an idea until you put it on paper, and then it's a plan. And to have a plan laid out with several different options and scenarios, and to be able to look at them really helps to define, well, what are my end goals, position do I want to be in, and to help make that choice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What do you tell people who are going at it alone? right? They are continuing to figure it out. They're afraid to approach a bank, Renee, and make friends with their banker, right? And be accountable, or Deirdre, to really like work with the same bank over and over and sort of take a deep breath when you have to walk in that door and have the conversation with a banker. That's hard. Or they're afraid to raise equity. And so their businesses are either limping along or they just can't get to that next level. What do you advise them?
Renee, you want to go first?
Sure. I'm actually in some of the women I'm advising right now is, first of all, create a network, find a financial sponsor, find an investment friend, and don't be afraid, because you cannot, it is very difficult to finance your business just on credit cards alone. And so I think that is really important. But the key is just really being bold and believe in what you do, and go pursue that passion. And I would say lastly is, don't be afraid to take risks.
Mhm.
You know, I really do have the same bankers for 24 years. And, you know, I love them, but I always remember that, you know, when things get tough, if you don't deliver results, like, you can lay out a plan and they're going to approve it until the plan doesn't happen. And it does become really important to be conservative in your plans and beat your plans, because they sort of, with the comfort that they get from you seeing that you know what you're doing, or, I'm honest with them sometimes. This is, our business has so many highs and lows in it. It's tough for fashion companies because, you can have months where you're absolutely losing money, then you start shipping fall and it turns around again. So I think the relationship is really important, but your reputation and how you prepare and meet up with them, they don't like surprises. I did learn also we were a domestic lender or factor. Now we're becoming global. So it's a whole shift again in, how we're borrowing money to open our stores in China, and what we have to have new relationships. And, are you going to switch to somebody who's more global or not? These are all big decisions that you make along the way.
Deirdre, you're absolutely right. Bankers don't like surprises, right? We like transparency. We like to have conversation, and we're not upset when things don't go well, as long as you're upfront about, like, this is what's happening, right? As soon as fall shifts, all will be well,
Yep.
right? Just having that really good relationship is really important from a debt perspective. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. Let's jump over to just talking about entrepreneurship. How do you think that women can take entrepreneurship to the next level and create scalable and sustainable businesses? Who wants to jump first?
I can
Go
answer.
ahead, Asma.
Okay, thanks. I would say that I think one of the biggest learning lessons that I learned after the acquisition of my company happened is that I always thought bigger was better, meaning bigger companies had better people, that they had smarter people, and they had more smarter people than your company did. But I learned that that companies can learn best practices from even the companies that they're acquiring, or in many surprising ways. And so I would say that it's important to understand that as an entrepreneur, no matter what size you are, and especially at a startup stage, that you may actually have better practices than companies much larger than yours. So stay with that, stay true to that course when you're making sound business decisions. And the other thing is that one of the things that I've always carried through, no matter what size we've been, has always been this mentality of just being very pragmatic and making sure that you're looking at profitability and structuring your business, so that even if you aren't going to exit, or even if you aren't going to raise capital, to always have that balance sheet that would be ready to show to an investor or banker. I mean, that's, if you operate your business from that perspective, and I wish I would have at times done that even better. Of course, hindsight's always 20/20, but if I were to start a new company today, I would make sure that I would be exit ready at any time. I just think it's a good practice. So.
Really good point. DeLisa.
Yeah, I think that it's funny because all of our definitions of success is different, and so sometimes really trying to quantify where it is that you want to go is going to be what determines the makeup, of that. And so, to me, to really scale is going to require the right team, and to be able to have transparency with that team. As I don't remember who said it, but that is a really key ingredient. To me, it's all about the team, and it is about, it sort of touches on your earlier question of you can't grow to some levels on your own, and so.
Great. Renee.
I over the years, I was encouraged to hire an executive coach, which I did with 5 years into the business. And there's things that he's no longer with us today, but I still remember just these foundational things that I learned from him. And it was, first of all, focus on your core competencies. Really creating a culture that's important to you and the company. And I did that. And we got comments all the time from whether it was a vendor, a partner, or an applicant that would walk in the door and go, gosh, this just feels like home. And it didn't take away from being accountable. Everyone was accountable, but there was a great culture. The other thing was really don't pursue perceptions of opportunity. That was one thing that I learned over the years, and that really stuck with me. And I too was conservative. I was deliberate. So that was just my own comfort level. But I think that was really important to me. And I think lastly is be sure to celebrate your accomplishments.
Wow. Okay, Deirdre.
Oh, okay. Well, I meet I give a lot of advice to fashion people that want to get in the fashion business. And sometimes, they're not young. They've had a career before that, and they had an idea to make a brand with something. And my first question is, well, what did you do before? And they're like, I was a lawyer or whatever. And I'm like, why do you want to be in the fashion business? I mean, you got to work for somebody first. I would never open a restaurant if I didn't work in a restaurant, right? It looks like fun, but I'm sure it's not. Okay. And neither is probably most of our businesses, right? So, another thing that happens to me, anyone that walks into my office with a big order, so excited. I am not excited. I totally agree. Don't get too big too fast. We learn fast. We fix mistakes fast. That's a lesson that I learned from my partner, who was 20 years older, 20 years smarter. And he just, he had been through it. So that was a huge help to me. He'd be like, shut all the stores now. I'm like, what? And we had only opened them for 3 months. And we shut all 5 down within 3 more months. And he just said, it's going to kill us. And then we went wholesale, and then now we're going back to retail. But testing is really important. Like even now we're testing swimwear. We're doing some Murano glass out of Italy because it's a big trend. And, it's like just a little bit, find out first if it works, so that would be some of my advice to entrepreneurs.
So many really important lessons in what all of you have said. Let's talk about sort of looking to the future of entrepreneurship and women. Do you see any particular areas of opportunity for women to fill?
I think today, Judith, there's more opportunities for women. There's more opportunities for innovation, and there's more opportunities to be the solution. I think especially as we're seeing with this great resignation that is happening in the workforce, I mean, there's just incredible opportunity. And I would just say to these women, follow your passion, follow your dream, but have a plan.
That's a good one. I hear that theme of have a plan as being really important for everybody.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. We see a lot of women leaving the workforce. We're calling this the She-cession. We're seeing a revolving door of women, especially in large corporations, and many of them going and starting their own businesses, some out of passion and some, I think, really out of necessity, right? Because somehow they don't feel like they're fitting in. So really thinking about where are those opportunities? And I hear you, Renee, there's lots of opportunities, follow your passion. But, are there any particular places that all of you see or other advice that you would give in terms of finding that opportunity?
I mean, my advice would be to never give up. It's just, I sort of started my career when it was go get the coffee. And all right, I got the coffee. And then I made sure that I got the boss's job. All right. It's so much better today. I think that women, have a voice at the table. I mean, I used to sit like the secretary in the production meeting with 20 men, and like you were in the corner, like, shh, they need a pencil sharpener. You don't have that today. And we're smart. We're multitaskers. We're able to have a voice and be respected. And I know it's not perfect, but I think it's getting better and better.
Fantastic. Asma?
Yeah, no, I was going to say, I totally agree. I think it's totally different. It seems like time is moving really fast, which is great because we actually do have a long way to go. But look at this event that we're in. Look at what Edie Fisher has been able to accomplish. Look at all these organizations that provide support. There's impact funding, and there's so much more today. When I started my company, I did it, and that's one of the gender differences between entrepreneurship. Is women start companies and businesses out of necessity, where men start them out of opportunity. And mine was purely out of necessity. I was a single mother of a 2.5-year-old and didn't know how to raise her working in investment banking, in New York City without ever seeing her, and having to compete with my counterparts at that time. And so, the only solution for me to be able to have that flexibility would be to start a company and have that kind of control, and it's turned into so much more, but I think that's what we look for. And now we have just such a platform that this is a great time for women in entrepreneurship.
Yeah, I agree. I think that there is opportunities in places. I would encourage women to look in places where traditionally they wouldn't. I grew up obviously I'm in a male-dominated industry in the construction world. And I grew up in a home where my mother, she is a pile driver and a welder for the Port of San Francisco. And to see her every day with her overalls on and driving across the Bay Bridge and knowing that my mother was a part of that. And it honestly gave me the ability to see things with no gender biases or barriers, if you will. And so I would encourage women to step into roles that they may not necessarily, normally step into, because there's so much opportunity there. And just with the time that we're in now, doors are just opening. So.
I love what you're saying, DeLisa, about stepping into those roles. And I think so much of that is in our world in tech, right? And having women really move into those tech roles, STEM, tech-enabled roles, so that those are the companies where it's going to attract a different type of funding and different opportunity as well as you said, just completely non-traditional spaces, and get rid of that gender bias, and let's all move together.
Yes.
Okay, so in our last few minutes, I'd love to just hear from all of you some of your pearls of wisdom. And I know it's hard to condense that into just a few minutes because you all have so much to share with us today. But let's really take some pearls from you on how we can encourage more women entrepreneurs and how we can encourage more women to use capital, whatever the type, to scale their businesses.
I can jump in, Judith. Is a couple things I was just thinking about and reflecting on is I grew up with two parents that were both entrepreneurs, and we were educated and engaged and included in all of their decisions through their businesses. And those were our dinner conversations. what's your inventory? Who got hired, who got fired, all that. I did the same thing with my daughters. And I hear a lot of women say, I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can work and have children. And you can. And I really believe that these kids that we're raising have so much respect for us because of the fact that we are working and we are purposeful and we're bringing back something to the family. So that's one aspect. The other one is, I would just say, education. I mean, especially education on capital. Learn about the good money, the bad money, all of the opportunities around, around debt and around angel investing, around VC, all of that. I would say really learn about that. To me, education. And then lastly is just have a well-scripted story.
Hmm.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I'll go
DeLisa, do you want to follow? Okay, go ahead.
I will say get connected. This right here is a great foundation to do so. But get connected, not only with other women in the industry, but anyone in the industry. Ask questions. Don't hold back. I would say ask for introductions from those people in the industry, especially in the road of different financing options, if that's what you're pursuing. And I will say overall, like you mentioned, how can I do it? How can I be a wife and a mom, also a business owner? My nugget with that is to wake up every single day and do anything that I can, even if it's just one thing for the day that keeps me on the road that I'm going on. And before you look back, before you know it, you'll look back and have come a long way.
Oh, fantastic. Deirdre.
I think my advice would be focus, focus, focus. There's so many distractions in our lives and so many opportunities. As entrepreneurs, we can't help ourselves. We get excited at opportunities. But, if you want to scale and you want to build it, you definitely need to focus on the prize. And, however long you want to stay in it or you want to sell it is second to it. And I think it's just all about finding the right opportunity, but definitely you need the passion to sort of build it, and patience. Women have a lot more patience and we multitask very well. So I think that those are all strengths for us.
Great. And Asma, do you want to finish us off?
Sure. I'll just echo one thing, and then I'll say one other point, which is, it's true. You'd be surprised how few people ask for help. You would think that all of us on this are getting tons of messages asking for help and things. It's just not that way, So don't be afraid to reach out for, to people. The second thing I'll say is just surround yourself with people you trust, more than, and you have to have the right team. There's no way that you do it alone. You have to have the right team around you, but then invest in the people that you really trust around you as well. So that's it.
This has been a spectacular session, and I could sit here for so much longer, and really I know everyone who's joined us too can really enjoy so many more stories. So I want to thank all of you and just really highlight how important it is. Some of the messages that I heard: ask for help, surround yourself with people that you trust, ask for those introductions that you need. Be prepared, always be prepared for the exit. I think that's what you said, Asma, right? Always ready yourself for that exit. You're absolutely correct. You don't know when it will happen, and you want to know that you're ready when it does, to protect the value that you've created for yourself, for your family, for your employees. And be ready to grow. Stay focused, like Deirdre said. Don't get lost in the distractions, which we know as so many entrepreneurs who are visionaries can, right? You want to just keep coming up with new ideas, but you got to stay focused and always have a plan. Thanks, Renee, for that. So I want to thank all of you for being here with us, and just wishing you well on your entrepreneurial journey. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.